We're going to do a little row of stitching just along in 2 spots here. Beep your stitch length up to number 5. This is called a gathering stitch. We're only putting it in there as a temporary stitch. So leave long threads hanging and don't do any back stitch. These will be pulled out later, and it's just to hold them in place instead of using pins. If you look carefully, you can see the stitches I've done. The next thing we're going to do is the hem along the top of the bag. Fold down exactly 2.5 centimeters. This is important that you measure this and it's even. Fold again 2.5 centimeters. This time pin it in place. Put a pin each side of the straps and then check that it's 2.5 centimeters for both of those. If it isn't, just adjust it slightly. There. Put a pin in the middle and then turn it over. Do the sides now. Check it's 2.5 centimeters and then put a pin each side. Turn the bag over and do the other side. Check it's 2.5 centimeters on the side seam. Pop a pin in there and then put pins in any of the spaces. It's a good idea to put a pin in the strap too, just to keep it straight. Now we're ready to go. Straighten it up. Now we're going to stitch really close to the edge. But before we do that, we're going to give this a good iron. Again, get lots of steam happening and press really hard. Come over and do the other side as well. So, whoops, do the sides, and turn over and do the other side. Now this is ready to sew. We're going to start on the side, very close to the edge, as close as we can get. Go right around, back to the other side, and back over the top of the stitching you just did. There you are, you can see where I've done that. Now we're going to stitch on the handles with a fancy stitch. Pull out the little holding stitch that we put in before. Go to cross, up, down, and a twist, and back up. Work out how you're going to do this before you start. See here, you can see how I've done it on both the bag handles. This gives it a decorative effect, and it makes it nice and secure. Do that on all 4 of those. When you make your front pocket, pin your 2 pieces together. We have to leave a gap. Make sure you've got right sides together in here. We need a gap because we need to turn it inside the right way. We're going to use a seam allowance of 0.6, which is on the edge of the foot. That's our gap there. Don't leave the gap on the corner. So using the seam allowance on the edge of the foot, I'm going to stitch from here with a back stitch, beautiful corner, around the curves and back stitch. Be very careful going around the curves. Can't really see my stitching very well here, but when you're done, you need to cut the corners so that it will turn inside out with lovely sharp corners, and these curves need to be clipped. So about 4 or 5 clips here, and they are little V clips. So you're cutting out little triangles. So when that turns in the right way, it'll be nice and smooth. You'll need to do this on both sides. Be careful not to cut your stitching, but it's good to go as close to your stitching as you can. Turn your pocket inside the right way now. Push out the corners to get nice sharp points. This is important. So take a little bit of time to get flat around the curves. When you've done this, you can give it an iron. These parts here iron in under where the hole is. We need to stitch around the edge of your pocket now, as close to the edge as you can. This is called top stitching. Make sure you've got a large stitch size. This is then done a second time on the edge of the foot from the last row of stitching. Beautiful corners, and be careful around the curves. Then when we've done that stitching, we're going to measure down 20 centimetres from the top and put a mark. Another 20 centimetres mark. We can get out one of the rulers and draw that line on there. Okay. Now we're going to attach this pocket to our bag. Put the bag down flat and put the pocket on top. Line the pocket up with the top of the straps. Measure down 7.5 centimetres from the top of your bag. Spend a lot of time making this really accurate. 7.5, 7.5. Double check you've got it right. Check that you're in line with the straps. Needs to be 12.5 centimetres from each side. Now you're going to pin this in place. You need to go inside your bag. Make sure that you don't pin through both layers of your bag. So this can be a bit tricky. You can't get right under down there. You're actually going to stitch down right on the very first row of stitching that you did, the row that was really close to the edge of your pocket. And then you're going to go across on that 20 centimetre line that you ruled on, then back up the other side. So let me show you that. I'm going to start here with a back stitch, right on the edge, on top of our row we had, corner, across the line we drew, another corner, and back up with a back stitch. Don't stitch across the top. In fact, take that pin out to remind you. This is going to be the pocket hole. There we are. Now let's turn our bag into a purse. Turn it over, fold one side in to the edge of your pocket, fold the other side in to the edge of your pocket, fold one side down to the top of the pocket, neatly fold the straps in, then fold the other side up to the where your row of stitching went across the bottom there to form the flap, and then this gets folded in half, turn over, and there's your clutch. The sides should all be inside. Now we've got to put a placement for our press stud on. So get ourselves a press stud and a button. Get your pen out and mark where your button's going to go. And then put a pin through this hole, this mark, and then when you open up, you should be able to see where your pin's going through to the other side so that you can mark the other side. This is where you're going to put your press stud on, here. And your button's going to go on the top. There, finished. Well done.